When Super Mario Odyssey was released, it was instantly apparent that the way Mario could move and platform throughout the various kingdoms felt phenomenal. Now don't get me wrong, almost every 3D Mario game ever has had some of the tightest mechanics, and there's always been a small group of fans who want to push the boundaries of what Mario is capable of. This has spurred many great videos on YouTube and definitely has had a lot of influence on this one. My name is Copycat, and welcome to the best impossible jumps in every kingdom. Starting things off in the Mushroom Kingdom, there's really only a few great jumps, including one that will really benefit your hiding spot in Luigi's Balloon World. This spot has you scaling the main turret of Peach's castle by backflip jumping just off the raised edge, then performing a Cappy Hat Throw Dive combo, and you should just barely make it to the top. If you do this in combination with getting the coins on the side of the turret, then you'll actually create a really good hiding spot. The second impossible jump challenge in this kingdom can't actually be accessed anymore because it involved a glitch which recently has been patched. To get this to work, you had to use the wet nut glitch to get over to Yoshi's house, which for some reason removed the invisible walls that would usually block you. You are now able to do this. The main impossible jump in the Cap Kingdom involves trying to get around the lighthouse without using the Paragoomba, which is actually a lot harder than it looks. By using a few hat spin returns and some well-timed jumps off the lighthouse's side, you should be able to eventually do this. The next impossible jump involves getting across the bridge gap without using it. I'm pretty sure triple jumping works best here. The hardest jump in the Cascade Kingdom takes place inside the bonus room across an enormously large gap. To get that little bit of extra momentum, you'll have to start with a Cappy roll bounce and transition into a hat spin return dive combo. After a lot of tries, you'll eventually barely just make it. There's also a large gap between the floating rocks and a tree trunk sticking out of the ground. This one can be a bit tricky. The Sand Kingdom is one of the most expansive in the entire game, meaning that there are some really interesting areas for some intense platforming. One of the first impossible challenges that came out involves jumping from the giant upside down pyramid to faraway places. Here are a few. The next involves the Tostarena Runes Tower, which you can turn into a jump challenge by scaling up it without the help of the 2D section. This can only be done because there's tiny platforms sticking out of the tower's side. On its top is where this kingdom's Luigi's Balloon World starting circle is located. Starting from such a high point allows you to hide your balloon incredibly far away, where you can reach places like on top of this giant pillar, across the chasm, or if you're really good, even farther away. The Lake Kingdom has one of the hardest impossible jump challenges in the Painting Skip Cliff. What you have to do is really hard, and starts off with you triggering the Scarecrow and waiting on top of the structure to long jump as soon as it disappears. If you timed it correctly, then Cappy will return to you and you can use him to combo towards the cliffside. On that cliffside, you have to do an incredibly tight combination of bouncing off the wall and doing a few hat return spins. If you've done it just right, then you'll be able to barely dive onto the cliff. The Wooded Kingdom is really weird as it appears small at first glance, but in reality is actually quite large. There are some incredibly amazing gaps in this kingdom, but the one challenge that almost everyone has tried to do is to get on top of the giant tower. This is actually impossible, and I've only seen it done by using the Fire Bros elevator glitch to get on top of the invisible wall. Unfortunately, you can't actually stand on its roof, but at least it is possible. Kind of. There are some other few good ones in this kingdom, especially this one amazing one. The Cloud Kingdom is really small, so there's only really one jump challenge, which involves skipping the clouds and trying to cross the gap to the other side. The Lost Kingdom is also really small, and there really is only one impossible jump. This takes place at the top of the mountain and has you trying to jump towards the really small island. This might take you a few tries. The Metro Kingdom is full of tall buildings with many gaps between them, making it one of the best for jump challenges. The first and most popular in this kingdom has to be the jump between the gap that separates the Odyssey from New Donk City. I remember doing this when the game first came out, and little did I know there were actually several ways you can do this. The next best jump has to be the long gap between the helipad and where the broken robot is located. The easiest way to do this is by using the metal pillar to get more height. But if you're skilled enough, you can flick Mario from the pylon and just barely make it. In the hidden moon room accessible under the manhole, there's a jump challenge where you have to get from the puzzle to the top of the green pipe. On the eastern side of the map, there's an iron scaffolding area where you can pull off two incredible feats. The first involves trying to travel underneath the crane and come back over the other side. Crazy, right? The next has you traveling from the crane area around the outside of the buildings towards the park. In the secret rocket area lies one of the hardest jump challenges in this video. Here you have to make your way to a building with a slightly lower roof, which is actually insane. In the Seaside Kingdom, every impossible jump challenge has you trying to scale some sort of object. The most obvious is the giant glass palace where you have to try and scale up it without using the Gushin. There's also the pillar in the middle of the water, which will take a few tries to master. However, my favorite has to be trying to reach the Captain Toad area by using the fork to get more height. Definitely easier said than done. The Snow Kingdom is really small, but has two painting skips that can be accessed in really interesting ways. The first skip area is on the floating island just above the Odyssey. To get up there, start on top of the Odyssey, then either perfectly triple jump or hat roll bounce to get enough momentum to make it. The second painting skip area is really beneficial in Luigi's Balloon World. To get up here, you'll have to ground pound jump off a high point and perfectly throw Cappy so you can just bounce off him. The Luncheon Kingdom is by far my favorite in Super Mario Odyssey because of the wide array of secrets and amazing challenges that can be completed. The very first that comes to mind is trying to platform over the purple cliffs towards the other side. This is literally almost impossible and took me about 2 days to finally do. What makes it so hard is that you almost need to glitch it so that you bounce off Cappy twice. At the very top of Mount Volbano, there's a giant pot where you can use your height and try to travel extremely far. Using the lava to get a bit more distance, you can actually reach this faraway island. However, probably the best impossible jump challenge for speedrunning has to be the early kingdom access from the painting skip area. This painting can be accessed from the Lake Kingdom and transports you to an island that makes it look like the rest of the Luncheon Kingdom is inaccessible. Except... in the Rune Kingdom, there's a secret room with what people are calling the Roulette Tower. Here you can do the challenge of trying to get back to the start from its end. This is really hard. Bowser's Kingdom is extremely expansive with a lot of levels to it, making it perfect for jump challenges. Most of these involve taking off from the higher rooftops towards the ones that seem way too far away to reach. Trust me when I say pulling off some of these jumps are no easy feat. One of my favorite jumps takes place right at the beginning of the Luigi's Balloon World starting area. Using the Pokio, you can stab its beak into this very small ledge, then shake your controller to gain height. If done correctly, you can jump off the wall after exiting the Pokio and just make it to the rooftops above, leading to a really good hiding spot. Finally, the hardest jump once again takes place on an island where the painting skip is located. This is actually the craziest thing I've ever seen. The low gravity makes platforming very interesting in the Moon Kingdom, as Mario can now reach unimaginable heights. This can be used to your advantage in Luigi's Balloon World, as the very top of the bell tower can be your hiding spot. That is, if you can get there in time. There are also two very big rock formations that you can try to jump up, and one really long gap that you'll need the help of the rocket flower to cross. Finally, during a stage of the underground Bowser boss fight, there's a challenge where you have to try and jump from the arena to the platform below. The risk in this one isn't very high, but it definitely is still hard. The dark side of the moon is really relatively small, and there's only one jump challenge here. This involves trying to jump from where the Odyssey is located towards the other area of the kingdom. Wow. The final jump challenge in Super Mario Odyssey takes place in the darker side of the moon and involves trying to scale the Empire State Building without using the frog. Believe it or not, this actually is possible. Alright, so that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If I left any out, then please let me know in the comments below. And of course, leave a like and subscribe to my channel as we just hit 31,000 subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!